Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today, as I promised in the previous video, we will be looking over the Senate, the 2026 United States Senate elections. So, just as an overview, a brief overview, Republicans currently hold 53 seats in the Senate. Democrats hold 47 for all intensive purposes. There's 2 independents, but they caucus with the Democrats, so the balance of power is currently 53 to 47. So looking over here, there's actually 4 toss-up seats. So these are the main seats that are in play this coming election in November. And so let's look over here. We're going to talk about this in a sec, but let's look at some of the data. So the 4 seats that are up are Michigan, North Carolina, Georgia, and Maine. So North Carolina actually has an incumbent Republican who is retiring. Yes, see open right here. Same with Michigan, but there's a Democrat who's retiring. Maine has a Republican senator, and Georgia has a Democratic senator. So let's look at some of the Let's look at some of the polling data that this website actually makes these predictions based off of. Some polling data, fundraising, a whole bunch of stuff. I trust this website. So Georgia, they actually have a 7.6% lead for Ossoff, which is really crazy. I was looking at this before I started recording. That is a lot. Now, I don't know if it'll be that much, but just based off that alone, I'm comfortable giving Georgia to the Democrats. And yeah, you see it here. Let me explain this really quick. The dark red and dark blue are safe seats as listed here. Then another shade below that is likely, so for example Minnesota or Texas, and then there is a lean on both sides, which would be for example New Hampshire or Ohio right here, and then for toss-up states, I'm just going to be picking the color that's slightly tilted, because realistically Georgia, 7 points, that's more than really a toss-up victory. That's honestly probably somewhere unlikely, but I don't know if it'll be that close. Obviously, there's all sorts of biases when it comes to polling data, fundraising-wise. I mean, it is a midterm after a Republican president was elected, so obviously the Democrats are the favorites to win toss-up races. But, yeah, I mean, +7 is just so crazy. But looking over at North Carolina, there's actually a +15, which is even crazier, but it makes sense. North Carolina's been shifting to the left towards the Democrats for some time now, so that makes sense. So we're actually gonna give the Democrats North Carolina as well. And then if we keep going, then there's Ohio. Here they have a Democrat winning by 3 points. I think that that is very close, but just based off how polls have been, why do I have Ohio selected already? Oh, I don't know what I did, but Ohio should actually be a toss-up. Sorry, but anyways, I'm going to be giving that to the Republicans just because of how polling has been in recent years. I just don't see Ohio going Democratic, and this is really a hunch that I have. I mean, it's based on how polling has gone in previous years. Democrats always perform a little worse than the polls show them to, so +3 for Ohio, I am going to interpret that as a victory for Republicans. Okay, moving on. Michigan, 4.2 for Democrats. So similarly to Ohio, obviously I don't think Democrats are going to win by 4.2. However, in Michigan, I do think they are going to carry out the win. I think it'll be close in both. Okay, yeah, the color was wrong. I think it'll be close in both Michigan and Ohio. I think Michigan will go to the Democrats and Ohio will go to the Republicans. Now we have Maine left. Last but not least, Maine is going to the Democrats by +1. However, in Maine with Susan Collins, I think the Democrats will win. Now, I know it's close in the polling, so that suggests I'm kind of breaking my own rule that I just set up with Ohio, but Susan Collins has just been an unpopular senator recently, especially for Maine, such a Democratic state. She has been reelected because of this idea that she's a moderate, yet she was the tie-breaking vote for Brett Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, and, you know, she's been getting a lot of hate, so I really can't see her getting reelected, especially now in the world that we live in now where America's so polarized. So my final prediction is that the Republicans will actually maintain control of the Senate. Obviously, Democrats would have had to pick up 2 more seats, so Ohio and something else, which is, that it's a really uphill battle because even just one more seat wouldn't be enough because then it would be tied and J.D. Vance would be the tie-breaking vote as vice president. So, yeah, my previous video had the House going to the Democrats. Now the Senate will be retained by the Republicans because the map just isn't favorable. Obviously, national trends would suggest that Democrats would do very well, and I mean, they are doing very well. I mean, I have them picking up North Carolina and Georgia and flipping Maine and, keeping Michigan. So, like, obviously, it's a good year for them still, but the map just isn't very favorable. There aren't any other states in play. Maybe if, for example, Pennsylvania was in play, or, there aren't very many states. The Senate's always a little harder for Republicans. Alaska being in play would have been nice too, but, it's just out of play right now. But I have the Democrats losing the Senate and the Republicans winning it, or I guess retaining it, and the Democrats winning the House. So those are really my final predictions for the midterms. I mean, I promised you guys this video. There isn't really much else to get into. I mean, we're still pretty far out. It's still only February, so it's hard to be, for sure about anything or have closer data. There's still a lot of time for things to change, but this is my prediction coming from February. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want similar content to this, please subscribe, drop a like. It'd help me a lot. So, yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.